In this video exercise, we are going to talk about the difference between job order costing and process costing and identify what are equivalent units and how we calculate them. Job order costing, which we covered in the previous chapter, is used for any company that produces unique jobs, things like custom homes. With process costing, that we'll be talking about in this chapter, companies will use process costing when they create a homogeneous product, meaning that the product is the same and goes through all the same processes in order to be created, like making cookies, for example. We are going to talk about what are equivalent units. Equivalent units are units that could have been completed and produced based upon the amount of product cost that had been put into process during the period. Remember, product cost is direct materials, direct labor, and overhead. Pizza is a great example of equivalent units. Let's say that we had 3 pizzas that each had a different topping, and each pizza costs $12 and are divided into 6 different pieces. Therefore, each pizza slice is $2 a slice. At the end of the night, you have leftovers from each pizza, and all are put in one box. You have 6 slices in total, so in fact, you have the equivalent of 1 full pizza, although it's made up of 3 different types of pizzas, meaning that your equivalent cost per slice or per unit is still $2, which means that there was the equivalent of 2 full pizzas eaten at the end of the night for a total cost of $24. So now let's do an example. We will use Cornerstone Exercise 622 that can be found in your textbook on page 264. They tell us that our company produces cylinders that are used in internal combustion engines. During June, the company's welding department had the following data. There were no units in beginning work in process. They were able to complete 70,000 units, and they had 10,500 units in ending work in process that they were able to complete 40%. So we need to calculate June's output for the welding department in equivalent units of production. When we're talking about equivalent units, any completed unit equals 1 equivalent unit. So we'll start with our units that were completed during the month of June. They tell us that we completed 70,000 units. Again, 1 completed unit equals 1 equivalent unit. They also told us that we had ending work in process units. They told us that we had 10,500 units in ending work in process that we were able to complete 40%. So, in order to get our equivalent units, we simply take the 10,500 and multiply it by how complete we were able to get those units by the end of June. That gets us our equivalent units for our ending work in process. In this case, we had 4,200 equivalent units. What that tells us is that based upon all of the product costs that we put into getting 10,500 units 40% completed, we could have fully completed 4,200 units. We will add them together, the units that were completed, plus our equivalent units for ending work in process, get our total equivalent units for the month of June. Total equivalent units for June of 74,200.